You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of the world outside of you. The world outside is only a shadow, a reflection of the world within. Many ask, can I manifest a home, love, health, and wealth all at once? And the answer is not only yes, it is how creation was always meant to work. You are not meant to manifest one thing at a time, like someone begging from a reluctant universe. No, you are the dreamer in the dream, and the dream responds to your command. To manifest many things at once, you must begin where all things begin, in your imagination. See yourself already living in the end, not just one end, but all ends. You are not limited to one room in a mansion. You own the entire estate. Walk through every room. Feel the warmth of love, the freedom of abundance, the radiance of perfect health, the peace of purpose. You do not need to worry about how. You do not need to see the staircase. You only need to stand in the feeling of the fulfilled desire, and stand there not once, but every time doubt not. Desires are not separate. They are threads in the same divine fabric. When you change the pattern within, the whole fabric reflects that new image. One consciousness, one state, many blessings. Your job is not to hustle, force, or chase. Your job is to accept that all things are already yours. The version of you who has it all already exists. The more you identify with that version, the more the outer world must conform. Let go of the need to obsess. Let go of timing. Plant the seed of fulfilled desire in the garden of your imagination, and then let the invisible forces water it with faith. Hold the vision. Feel it real. Rest in knowing, because when you do, all things will come at once, not by effort, not by chance, but because you believed and refused to let go. All that you see, all that you touch, all that you experience in this world is not the cause, it is the effect. The true cause lies in a realm the physical senses cannot grasp. It is not in the movement of the world, nor in the actions of others, nor in chance or fate. The cause lies in the unseen world of imagination. What you imagine, you give life to. What you feel as real, you call into being. The imagination is not a child's plaything. It is not idle daydreaming. It is the sacred power of creation itself. If you wish to manifest multiple things at once, begin by understanding this. Everything you desire already exists in the invisible. It is already formed, already whole, already yours, waiting only for your recognition. The imagination is not a place to escape to. It is the place you create from. It is the seedbed of your reality. Just as a tree once lived as a seed, your future lives within your inner vision. You do not manifest by trying harder. You manifest by accepting that what you hold in mind, with faith and feeling, must come to pass. The outer world is but a mirror. If the reflection displeases you, you do not reach out and try to adjust the mirror. You go inward and change the image within. The same is true for your desires. To manifest many things at once, you must stop believing that each desire is separate, each goal needing its own time, its own process. That is the illusion. Time itself is a creation within imagination. What you call waiting is often just not yet belief. So you wait for something that is already yours, already done, already real. If only you would dwell in its feeling. The imagination holds no limits. It does not struggle to hold 5 visions instead of 1. You can be loved, wealthy, joyful, healthy, peaceful. all in one breath, all in one moment, because all these things are merely expressions of a single truth, the state you occupy. You are not trying to get these things. You are simply becoming the person who has them. You don't chase. You assume. You don't beg. You embody. You don't hope. You know. To imagine is to be reborn. When you see yourself in your mind's eye with a clear and joyful knowing that what you see is true, you set creation in motion. Most people abandon their imaginal acts too soon. They plant the seed and then dig it up the next day, asking why nothing has grown. But when you trust in the unseen, when you hold the vision and feed it to be real, you allow the seed to take root, and you begin to live from the end, not toward it. There is no power outside of you creating your life. The power is within, and it is governed by what you accept as true. You can change your life by changing your assumption. You can manifest multiple things, not by doing more, but by imagining more completely. You do not need more effort. You need more surrender, more belief, more inner certainty that your imagination is not lying to you. It is showing you what already is. Live now as if it was so. See yourself already there. Do not visit that vision. Dwell in it. Let it be your resting place, your home. Feel the ease of already having. Walk, speak, think, and breathe as the one who has received. To live from the end is to occupy the state of fulfillment. It is not a mental exercise of wishing or hoping. It is a conscious decision to dwell in the assumption that what you desire is already done. When you attempt to manifest, most often you think in terms of someday. You visualize one goal, maybe two, and then wonder whether you're asking for too much. You measure desires against what seems realistic, what seems possible, and in doing so you cut yourself off from the infinite. But the truth is this: you are not meant to live in fragments. You are not meant to treat your desires like rations handed out by a reluctant universe. You are allowed, no, invited, to assume all things are already yours. To live from the end simultaneously means you no longer pick and choose which dream to believe in today. You no longer delay one so another might come. You stand at the finish line of all of them now. You walk through your day not as the person hoping for change, but as the one who already received it. Your love life, your finances, your health, your purpose, see them not as separate destinations, but as one complete state of being. This is the key to manifestation, the unified self, the version of you that already exists in imagination, where all desires are fulfilled, is not juggling dreams, is simply being. And you can step into that version now. You do not manifest by effort. You manifest by identity. Who are you in the unseen? Who are you when no one is watching? If you are waiting for something to change so you can feel fulfilled, you are postponing the miracle. But if you feel fulfilled first, reality bends to match that internal state. There is no conflict in imagining many things at once, because fulfillment is a singular vibration. When you feel whole, you draw all things unto yourself. Do not say, I must first fix my money before I attract love. That is a lie born of limitation. The truth is, your external world is a projection of the inner state you dwell in. When you step into the consciousness of already being loved, supported, abundant, healed, and free, the outer world will echo that belief in ways you could never predict. You do not have to fix the outer world. You do not need to manipulate people, stress over timing, or fight to prove your worth. You simply move into the state of the one who already has. You close your eyes and ask, what does it feel like to already be this version of me? And then you become it. Not temporarily, not on weekends, but fully. It may feel strange at first. The old state may try to pull you back, but if you persist, your new state will become your new identity, and from that identity all manifestations will spring. This is not about faking. It is about remembering. The version of you that already holds the fulfilled desire exists now in the invisible. You are not creating it. You are selecting it. You are choosing which state to dwell in. And from that dwelling, life must respond. Walk in the state. Mentally imagine from it. Emotionally feel it as real. Spiritually trust it with unwavering faith. Let your thoughts, words, and actions align with it. Let your inner conversations echo the truth of it. Let your reactions reflect the knowing of it. And forward. Time, as you experience it, is a construct of the mind. An agreement, a pattern, a rhythm your senses have been conditioned to accept. But the truth is far more liberating. Time is flexible. Time is malleable. Time is illusion. What you call later or someday is merely a version of now that you have not yet embodied. It is not separate. It is not distant. It is simply a potential that you have yet to accept as real. Everything you desire already exists, not in the future, not far off, but here, now, in the invisible. You do not wait for it to arrive. You awaken to it by belief. When you say, I'll be happy when I achieve this, you push the experience into a future that will never come, because your assumption is rooted in delay. You are postponing your blessing by making it conditional. But the secret is this: there is only ever now. And if you do not feel it now, you cannot experience it later. The mind says, I need time to get there. The truth says, there is nowhere to get. You are already it. You collapse time by assuming the result is done. You fold the future into the present by living from the end. And in doing so, you bypass the struggle, the delay, the need to earn it. You step into the vibration where it already is, and reality must conform. This is not imagination for the sake of fantasy. This is spiritual law. The outer world bends to the inner conviction. If you assume something will happen one day, you place it forever on the horizon. But if you assume it is now and feel from that state, then it moves into your world without effort, not because you forced it, but because you claimed it. Let's say you want healing. If you see healing as a process that must take time, then your body will reflect that belief. But if you move into the consciousness of already being whole, already being well, and hold that state without wavering, then healing can happen in what seems like an instant, because time is only the servant of belief. Or perhaps you desire wealth. You think it must take years of saving, working, proving yourself. But that is the belief you've accepted, and so it becomes true for you. The moment you accept that abundance can arrive now, that opportunities can appear instantly, that your life can transform in a moment, you give permission for the miraculous. You are not building these things from scratch. You are tuning yourself into the frequency of what is already done. Think of your desires like radio stations. Each has its own frequency. You don't create the music, you tune in. You don't have to make the abundance appear. You align yourself with the version of you who already lives it. And how do you do that? By feeling, by assuming, by persistently occupying the state of the wish fulfilled. When the doubts come, and they will, return to the end. Close your eyes. Inhale, see it done, feel the outcome so deeply it becomes more real than the current moment. Walk through the scene of the end again and again until you no longer desire it. You simply expect it. You know it. You feel it with such certainty that your current world begins to fade in importance. This is not madness. This is power. The world changes when you do. Life moves in response to your inner conviction. So do not dabble in your desires. Do not treat them as guests. Welcome them as your reality. Wake up each day as the version of you who has already arrived. Go to bed each night in gratitude for the life that's already yours, in the invisible. And as you remain faithful to that inner world, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it, all of it, at once. Every outcome you seek is tied not to luck or external effort, but to a state of consciousness. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. Each desire you hold, whether it is for love, wealth, health, or success, is not a thing to be chased, but a state of being to be entered. And the moment you occupy that state fully, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the outer world begins to shift, not through struggle, but through reflection. States create outcomes. This is the law. A state is a mood, a mindset, a feeling, tone. It is the invisible cloak you wear, often without realizing it. And that cloak determines the way life responds to you. You may say, I want to be wealthy, but if the state you habitually live in is one of lack, fear, or doubt, then wealth cannot reach you. Not because you are undeserving, but because the door is closed from the inside. You must become the version of yourself who already possesses what you seek. That becoming does not require years. It requires decision. Let's say you desire love. The state of being loved is not found in another person. It is found in how you feel about yourself right now. You must embody the feeling of being cherished, seen, respected. And if you can do that inwardly, consistently, without needing the external validation to prove it, the world will rise to confirm your belief. The partner shows up. The connection deepens. The love appears, not as something new, but as a reflection of the state you chose. Or maybe you seek abundance. The wealthy version of you does not constantly check the balance or worry about bills. They move with ease. They feel supported by life. They expect good things. To embody that state is to begin thinking, speaking, and behaving as if abundance is natural to you. Not pretending, not lying, but aligning, deliberately stepping into the state of financial ease before any physical evidence exists. Why is this so powerful? Because consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being, what you identify with, is what shapes your world. There are infinite states available to you at all times. You can move from powerlessness to power, from brokenness to healing, from lack to overflow, simply by changing the state you dwell in. The moment you shift your inner atmosphere, everything around you begins to reorganize to match it. Then you collapse the distance between desire and manifestation. You no longer wait. You welcome. You no longer hope. You know. You no longer prepare. You receive. And as you persist in this new awareness, the illusion of time dissolves. What once seemed far off begins to unfold in your present. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You no longer live in the future. You live in the fulfilled. And in that place, all things are possible, and all things are now. The outer world is not separate from the inner, it is its mirror. And when your inner world is in harmony, free of contradiction and resistance, the external must reflect that harmony back to you. You are not required to juggle your desires, balance them, or sort them out in order of importance. You only need to align within. For when your heart and mind are settled, steady, unified, and sure, you can hold multiple fulfilled desires in a single consciousness, and reality will conform. Most people believe they must focus on one thing at a time, as though desire is a task list and manifestation is a process of sequential order. But that belief itself creates limitation. In truth, the universe does not operate in lack, and neither should you. It is not overwhelmed by your desires. It does not need you to pick one thing and abandon the rest. What it requires is your wholeness, your certainty, your unwavering faith in the unseen. You can only hold what you are at peace with, so if you are divided within, if part of you believes and part of you doubts, then you weaken the current that brings your desires into form. That is why inner harmony is the key. It is not about intensity or repetition. It is about unity. When your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs agree, without inner war, without contradiction, then manifestation becomes effortless. Can you imagine a version of yourself who already has it all? The loving relationship, the financial abundance, the radiant health, the creative success. That version of you exists now, not as fantasy, but as potential. And you access that version not by working harder or waiting longer, but by assuming the inner attitude of already being that person. Not a future self, a present self, accepted. Imagine a peaceful lake. On the surface, you may see ripples moving in different directions, but the depth of the water is still unmoved, unified. That is your consciousness when you are aligned. The ripples, your desires, can all exist as long as the depth, the belief, is steady. Do not allow worry to break that stillness. Do not let doubt enter through the cracks. When you feel yourself slipping into fear, come back to center. Remind yourself, it is already mine. Not because you forced it, but because you believed it. This is the kind of calm certainty that creates multiple outcomes at once. Harmony does not mean you must never feel doubt. It means you no longer dwell in it. You observe it, acknowledge it, and choose belief instead. You choose faith over fear. You choose alignment over resistance. And in doing so, you become a vessel that can carry many blessings without strain. This is the secret. You are not manifesting desires individually. You are manifesting a state. A state where all those desires already exist as facts. Live from that state, and the multiplicity takes care of itself. Just as one seed contains the pattern for many fruits, one assumption that it is done contains the energy for many manifestations. So cultivate inner harmony, guard it, nourish it, keep it sacred, and you will discover that the more peaceful your inner world becomes, the more abundant your outer world grows. Not by effort, not by struggle, but by natural law, as within, so without. There is a sacred rhythm to creation that cannot be hurried, nor can it be forced. To manifest with power, you must learn to persist, not with frantic energy or obsession, but with quiet loyalty to the unseen. To persist is not to chase, and it is certainly not to beg. It is to remain faithful to what you have already claimed as yours, even when the outer world gives you no sign. It is to walk in certainty while others wait for evidence. This is the heart of true manifestation, inner consistency without outer dependence. You do not need to repeat your desire like a chant in fear that the universe has forgotten you. You do not need to look for signs in every corner, hoping that something has shifted. You only need to keep your inner world stable, anchored in the knowing that what you have imagined is already a reality, not in the future, but in the present unseen. The desperate mind looks for proof. The faithful mind knows. And what you know internally must be expressed externally, for the outer is always the shadow of the inner. If you constantly dig up the seed to see if it has taken root, you kill the very life you planted. But if you trust, if you water it with belief and nurture it with peace, then it must grow. It has no choice. That is law. Let your vision be clear, but let your spirit be at ease. There is no need to obsess. Obsession comes from fear, the fear that it might not happen, that you must do more, try harder, watch closer. But manifestation is not born from fear. It is born from rest. It is born from the calm assurance that once imagined, once felt, the thing is set in motion. A bridge of incidents begins to form, whether you can see it or not. Doors begin to open, people are moved, events are reshuffled, and all of it is guided by your inner state. You are not required to build the bridge, you are only required to cross it when it appears. And it will appear unmistakably when you are in the right place inwardly. If you are restless, anxious, or constantly needing reassurance, then you delay what is already yours. But when you feel it real, and you remain there, not for a moment, but as a new identity, then the world bends. It cannot help it. Reality is obedient to the one who believes. This is not laziness. This is spiritual precision. To rest in faith is not to give up effort, but to direct effort where it matters most, within. Every time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you give life to it again. You feed it. You energize it. But once fed, once felt, let it go. Trust it is done. Think of it like sending a letter. Once mailed, you do not follow the postman to ensure it is delivered. You trust the system. The same is true here. Once your desire is impressed upon your subconscious, once your inner world is saturated with the knowing that it is yours, trust the system of life to deliver it. You may not know how it will happen. You do not need to. The how is never your concern. Your work is to know what and feel as if. From that, the rest follows. So persist, but persist gently. Persist with joy. Persist as one who already has, not one who still lacks. Let your inner dialogue reflect fulfillment. Let your emotions speak of peace. Let your imagination remain loyal, undisturbed by the senses. You're not waiting for the world is waiting for you to be steady, unwavering, complete. And when you are, what you seek must appear, not because you demanded it, but because you became it.